いただきます。
どうだ、ビブス様。
コクがあって実に美味。何味と言ったかな。
味噌バター味です。
Hello there, welcome back to another episode of Anime with Alvin. Today, I'll be making the giant bucket of instant ramen enjoyed by Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, and Whis from Dragon Ball Super. Now I could do this the easy way and just put a bunch of instant ramen in a bucket, but I think it'd be pretty fun to explore what making instant ramen looks like from scratch. A good packet of instant ramen has three things: the soup powder, the dried noodles, and any toppings you want to put afterwards. What if we just made soup and turned it into a powder? So, to do that, first I'm starting with 32 ounces of water and kombu. This has been steeping overnight. Now I'm going to transfer it into a medium-sized pot and bring to a boil. Once that's hot, I'm adding in 25 grams of bonito flakes, turning off the heat and letting this steep for about 15 minutes. Once this is strained, this will serve as a dashi of some sorts. In the same pot, I'm combining 48 ounces of water and 1.5 pounds of chicken wings. Once this is brought to a boil, I'm slowly skimming off any scum that rises to the top. Then for our aromatics, I'm adding in 2 garlic cloves, 2 inches of sliced ginger, and about 4 scallions cut into thirds. This stock goes for about 3 hours or so, and just to be clear, this is probably not the most authentic ramen soup recipe you'll see, but I think it's a good starting base for what we're going to do later. Now that the chicken stock has been reduced and strained, I'm combining that with the dashi and boiling away until this turns to essentially a syrup, which took us about 3 to 4 hours. This is a dehydrator. We're taking that really syrupy soup stock, which is now congealed into a very solid blob of chicken jello. Now it's time to spread this mixture as thin as I possibly can on this sheet, but as you can tell, it is very, very, very sticky. This goes on a rack and into the dehydrator. Now, Vegeta in the episode did say this was a miso and butter ramen, so I thought it'd be fun to also incorporate miso into this by dehydrating a lot of miso paste, around a half a cup. This is also spread onto a sheet, placed on a rack, and joins our chicken jello friends in the dehydrator. 140 degrees Fahrenheit for the whole day. I guess we should probably do some other stuff. A quick trip to Google tells me that a lot of instant ramen noodles are actually flash fried, which makes sense because that preserves its flavor while also making it last longer. So I'm filling up a pot with vegetable oil and fluffing up some freshly made ramen noodles into a little fryer basket. And to make sure the ramen stays in that nice disc shape, I'm going to press with another noodle strainer on top. And once our oil has reached 350, I'm putting in the basket, shaking it around and giving it about 30 seconds to 45 seconds to make sure that our noodles are fried through. But honestly, I think I let them go for a little bit too long. They're pretty brown, and I don't remember any instant ramen having that brown fried look. So decided to change hoodies, do a little bit more research, and really focus on the flash fried part of the word. Instead of frying at 350 for 30 seconds, how about 400 degrees for 5 to 10 seconds? These turned out looking a lot more promising. Just to be sure, took a block of fried noodles, poured some hot water in, and gave it a taste. Just tastes like noodles, but with a slight fried flavor, which I really hope goes away by the time we add all our other stuff. We are now going to make the ramen bucket from Dragon Ball Super. I have here a large bucket as well as orange construction paper in which I'm going to cut terribly and attempt to fold around this in a perfect circle, which does not really make sense because this is a cone, but voila, we now have the bucket from Dragon Ball Super. And after our planet has rotated once, it is now time to check in on our stocks. The consistency is quite leather-like, so I'm breaking it up into shards and putting them into a food processor in order to break it up. I think one of the signature flavors of instant ramen comes from sugar and MSG, so I'm adding that in, but they'll also serve as an abrasive to hopefully grind up the soup and miso into smaller particles. The texture here is far from the powder that we want, so I'm putting this into a spice grinder instead, adding more sugar, adding a little bit more MSG, and seeing where that takes us. It's still not a powder. Cool. It's all good. I'll take that for now. Now it's time for the final part of our instant ramen bucket, the toppings. In the show, it's clear that they're eating some scallions, some butter, and some sliced fish cake on top of their ramen, which also goes along with corn. I'm guessing it's canned corn because canned corn just tastes better, honestly, and some well-marbled ham from the store. The Dragon Ball store. We have here our soup powder, menma, sliced scallions, marbled ham, butter, fish cake, corn, and noodles. Our heroes from Dragon Ball Super are very powerful fighters, so I think they deserve a triple serving of noodles. Now it's time for the fun part. Just like you make instant ramen at home, I'm putting in all the soup base and then pouring in a heaping copious amount of boiling hot water. Of course, you gotta give the noodles that little tap push down just to make sure that everything is submerged, and then covering this with a plate to let it cook for about 5 minutes. Once our 5 minutes of torture are complete, we can now enjoy the rest of our toppings. But first, I'm gonna do a little ramen noodle fold to make sure that we have a little platform as a bed for our toppings to rest upon. First, we're going to start with a couple slices of ham, followed by the corn, the menma, the fish cakes, the scallions, some more ham, and finally, the butter. And I present to you the miso butter instant ramen bucket from Dragon Ball Super, made with a pretty ridiculous method of actually making a noodle soup and then taking the water out and then just putting the water back in. Congrats. But taste-wise, this is pretty spot on. The MSG and the sugar really do make that signature flavor of instant ramen hit. And the chicken and miso, even after dehydrating and rehydrating, does come through a lot in the soup. It tastes really good. Everything kind of got mixed up in the soup and sank to the bottom. The butter itself definitely added a nice little extra rich finish on the tongue. And whether or not you're a Saiyan or a god of destruction or the most powerful being in all the universe, this food will make you smile. Let me just eat this piece of ham off camera because that's not safe for work. Actually, you know what? Give me the whole bucket. I'm finishing this.